slides. Today we have slides just to review a little bit the basics, as usual. Okay. Okay, yes. Very good. The wheel of sharp weapons, the wheel of the Arya Manjushri's word. Okay, and we start to play right now from the start. Well, I guess you don't know the definition of existence. Oh,
Oh, oh.
wow. So what would you say for the very first answer?
That which is known to a valid cognition. But I'm
Yeah.
not sure anymore.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, the very first answer would be the reason is not established. It's just to save time. Then you can reflect, oh, what is the definition? Okay. Then, okay, so it follows that you know the definition of existent, of course. Then you accept, of course. Yes, posit. Then what was it, Zinglula?
That which is known to a valid cognition.
Yes, we could say so. It's very similar. Yeah. Who has the very, very exact, precise definition of existent? It's very similar.
That which are, that
Yeah.
which are suitable to be known by awareness.
Ah, yes, it's equivalent. This one is the definition of object, yeah, which is equivalent with existent, yeah. But no problem, yeah, it's just to review. So, but it's not fully, it's not totally mistaken. It's correct in one sense. It's just an equivalent, yeah. Okay, but the very precise definition will be observed by valid cognition, yeah, or valid cognizer, as you wish, yeah. Cognizer is just a way to be phrased by, many top scholars in America are very good translators. So they use cognizer. But we noticed at Nalanda that some people could think that we speak about a person. But it's a mental event, yeah. So that's why some teachers like Genlosel would say cognition, yeah, it's just a detail. So observed by valid cognition. It follows that the subject observed by valid cognition is the definition of existent. Yes, accept. Are you sure? You are sure? Okay, yes. Accept. It follows that it's not the case because you don't know the main divisions of existent. What is the answer to that syllogism?
The reason is not established.
Yes, exactly. The reason is not established. Yeah, very good. It follows that you know the main divisions of existence.
Accept.
Yes, accept. Very good. Posit.
Permanent and impermanent.
Yes, yeah, everybody agrees. I can see that. Even I can see Apollinala who agrees. The subject, the two, permanent. Yeah, technically they would say the subject, the two, but it's okay. Yeah, permanent and impermanent. Yeah, okay. So it follows that the subject, the two, one, and different are not main divisions of existence. What should we say?
Why?
Why exactly, Zingrunla? Yeah. Why? Because we don't agree with what the challenger is telling us. Yeah. Okay. So then the challenger could give a justification. Yeah. It follows that the subject, the two, one, and different are not main divisions of existence because the two, permanent and impermanent, are main divisions of existence. So it's a three-part consequence. Yeah. We could say accept, but there's something wrong here, so we should not accept. We could say the reason is not established. Yeah, the reason is not the property of the subject. Yeah, we could say so. Or we could say no perversion. Yeah, what will you choose among those answers? It follows that the subject, the two, one, and different are not main divisions of existence because the two, permanent and impermanent, are main divisions of existence.
I would say accept.
Mm. Yeah. So, Chavila, if we say then if we accept the whole sentence, it would mean that one and different are not main divisions of existence.
Yes.
Yeah. So, who would say something with regard to that? Who would remember some previous classes that we had? You know,
I would say the reason is not established.
the reason is not established. So the reason is not established would mean that the two, permanent and impermanent, are not main divisions of existence. Yeah.
This
And
also, then no pervasion.
okay.
But main division, is there only one main division or are there several? What does main division refer to?
Yeah, we could say that main division, usually we have one and different, permanent and impermanent, and yeah, there are
So there
most,
can be several main divisions, right? There's
yes,
not only one main division, it's only about the language.
exactly.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay, then no
exactly.
pervasion.
No perversion, yeah. Yeah, because yeah, that's true. We tend to think that if permanent and impermanent are the main divisions of the existent, then the others are not. But yeah, they are as well. One and different is also, if it exists, it has to be one or different, yeah? So one and different are also main divisions of existence, yeah? Yeah? Yeah, is that okay for everyone? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So yes, no perversion. Yeah, it's not because there are two main divisions that there are not other two main divisions. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So that's the answer that you should give. You should show that face. No perversion. Exactly. So the challenger could ask you to posit the perversion. Yeah. Yeah, okay, but that's okay. Yeah, it follows that you know the difference between the two, different from permanent and functioning thing. Oh, so what would you say? Accept, just to save time, yeah? Okay. Oh, you show that face. Yes, okay. Very good. So let's try to think together. You have time, yeah, between different from permanent and functioning thing, or just thing, yeah. Functioning thing is just an English word for bhava or vastu in Sanskrit, or ngopo in Tibetan, yeah. They don't say functioning, but in English we add that, yeah. That's okay. Different from permanent and functioning thing. Contradictory, equivalent, 3P, 4P.
Equivalent.
Equivalent for singular.
I would say equivalent as well.
Yes, Daniel is the secretary of the club.
Yes, equivalent.
Oh, Chariji will be the president and Zigrun the vice president. Okay. We have a powerful club of equivalent. Okay, okay, let's check that. So it means that you found common base, yeah, between different from permanent and functioning thing, yeah? If it's equivalent, yeah? What would it be?
For example, the subject, the pot.
The subject pot. The subject pot, what did I choose? Maybe table, no? Yeah. Okay, the subject pot, it follows, it is different from permanent.
Except
It is different from permanent because?
Because it exists and it's not, and yeah, it's a diverse phenomenon. Not permanent.
Yes.
It
Yes.
exists and it's not permanent, right?
Okay. So if it exists and it is not permanent, it's necessarily different from permanent.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Different from permanent equivalent to impermanent? I'm sorry, I missed a few classes.
So
Didn't
it seems that for the club that we have here, yes. Because functioning thing is equivalent with impermanent. Everybody would agree with that? Yeah,
Mhm.
functioning thing and impermanent are equivalent, yeah? Okay,
Yeah.
but let's check, yeah, if different from permanent is equivalent with functioning thing as well, yeah? That's the assertion of the three defenders here.
No,
Three-
it can be also non-existent. I have to correct myself. Different from permanent, it can be also non-existent. Then it's 3p.
Okay, 3p for the Grula,
Mm.
yeah. You destroyed your card member your member card of the club. Okay. Okay, so let's check. Yeah, so we will try to reply to Hirunla's question, yeah, during the debate. Yeah, if it's equivalent or not. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So the subject pot, yeah, exists and is. What was your answer, Zigrunla? Your reason? It
Not
exists.
permanent.
Yes. Okay. It exists and it is not permanent. Yeah. Okay.
Mm.
If it exists and it is not permanent, it's necessarily different from permanent.
Except.
Okay, I would accept as well. Yeah. Okay. So, and we have to justify each point. Yeah. So we proved that table or pot, pot is different from permanent. Now we have to prove that it is a functioning thing. Yeah. Okay. So the subject pot is a functioning thing because.
Because it's able to perform a function.
Yes, it follows that if it is able to perform a function, it's necessarily a functioning thing.
Except.
Okay, so we have common base, yeah, pot, table, and so on, yeah, okay. So now, could we find something which is different from permanent, but not a functioning thing?
Maybe then horns of a rabbit.
Horns of the
Okay.
rabbit. It follows that the subject horns of the rabbit are diverse phenomena from permanent.
Yeah, they're not. Exactly. I don't know.
Why?
It follows that the subject horned rabbit is not different, is not a diverse phenomenon from permanent.
Agree. Accept.
Yes, it is not because.
Because it does not exist.
So it follows that if it doesn't exist, it cannot be a diverse phenomenon from permanent.
Accept.
Yes, very good. So if it's not a phenomenon, it cannot be a diverse phenomenon from permanent. Yeah. Very good. So horned rabbit is not possible, yeah, here, yeah. Okay, so but still, could we find something? Not for the two members club now of equivalent, because if you find equivalent, then you cannot posit something which is A but not B. Yeah? But do we have some other clubs? Who would say something else?
Is time
Time, Kanaviji, time. It follows that time is different from permanent, yeah?
yeah, I think so.
Okay. It is different from permanent because?
Um moments change.
Yes. If it's how do you say,
It
momentary
changes
changing?
moment to moment.
Yes. If it is, it follows that if it is momentary changing, it's necessarily different from permanent.
Except
Okay, but here, if we put time here on the question mark, it follows that time is not a functioning thing.
but time is not a thing.
Okay. So do you remember that okay, that functioning thing is equivalent with impermanent, yeah?
Yes.
And if it is momentary changing, it's necessarily impermanent.
But time doesn't fit both.
Except or why?
Why?
Ah, okay. Okay. So just before we said, okay, time is different from permanent because it's momentary changing. Yeah? That was your reason, Palavila, right?
Yes.
And if it is momentary changing, it follows that it is necessarily impermanent, no?
Yes.
Okay, and if it is impermanent, it's necessarily a functioning thing.
Yes. Maybe I should give a different definition for time then.
Yeah, time. Time is an NECP. Do you remember what is an NACP?
Yes, non associated composite phenomenon, but my notes. Okay. Time is not matter nor consciousness.
Ah, okay. But it is still a functioning thing, yeah? Because the definition of an NACP is? Who has it?
Impermanent and not matter and not mind.
Yes, impermanent. An impermanent which is not matter and not consciousness, yeah? Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so if it is an NACP, it's necessarily impermanent.
Yes, except.
Oh, so time is a functioning thing, yeah?
Except. Okay.
So we cannot put it here, yeah?
I found something for the existent.
Existent. Oh, existent. What did I put? Object, which is equivalent with existent, yeah? Okay, the subject existent. It follows that it is different from permanent.
Except
It is different from permanent because?
it's a diverse phenomena from permanent.
Yes, it follows that if it is a diverse phenomenon from permanent, it's necessarily different from permanent.
Except
Okay, and the subject existent or object, yeah, which are equivalent, the subject existent is not a functioning thing.
except
Is not a functioning thing because?
it's not necessary because it can be permanent.
It can be or it has to be.
Object itself, it has to be. It is object itself is permanent, yeah.
Yes, object
Permanent.
itself, yeah, object, existent. We will see that later. I have some slides as well, yeah, to just to review that point. Okay, the subject object is not a functioning thing because it is permanent, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it is the appearing object to thought, consciousness, and so on, yeah. Okay, very good. So the subject object is permanent, but still different from permanent.
Can you repeat?
It follows that the subject existent or object is permanent and still is different from permanent. Yes, everybody agrees? Who would say why? The subject, object, or existent, or how would you say, object of knowledge, and so on, yeah, is permanent, but is different from permanent because it is not one with permanent and it exists. So drop it for now. We will try to recap later for that, yeah, for that point. Okay. So object of knowledge or object or existent, yeah, is different from permanent, yeah. Because only permanent is one with permanent, yeah. Yeah. Only permanent itself is one with permanent.
Except.
Yes. Permanent, the subject permanent is one with permanent because? Daniel?
Not sure how to posit it, but I know it's the right answer.
That could be a good answer from the defender, just because I know it.
um, mm, how can we posit it?
Yeah, who has the definition of one?
Not different.
Ah, it follows that two horns of the rabbit are one.
And existent. And existent.
Yes, okay. So a phenomenon which is not diverse. Yeah, a phenomenon which is not diverse. Yeah. So it follows that the subject permanent is a phenomenon which is not diverse from permanent.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, very good. So the subject permanent is one with permanent. Okay, and the subject in compounded space is permanent.
Yep.
Okay, it follows that the subject in compounded space is permanent, but still it is not one with permanent. Because only permanent is one with permanent. Yeah?
Yeah, except
Okay, so it follows that the subject in compounded space is permanent, still it is different from permanent. Yeah, because being different from permanent doesn't mean being contradictory with permanent. Yeah, it's not the same. Yeah, yeah. Okay, very good. Very good. Yeah, yeah. Do you follow me up to now?
Yep, just about, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. I try to check the eyebrows.
I feel like I walked into a PhD level class and like I'm in high school. I don't know what happened.
Sorry. Sorry. Yeah, those points are so crucial. So that's why I try to recap them slowly, step by step, one and different. Yeah. Yeah. If it is one, it's one for thought consciousness. Yeah. The thought consciousness is not able to distinguish it. Yeah. Just cup is one. Yeah. Cup is one with cup. Yeah. Blue cup is not one with cup. Yeah. The subject blue cup is a cup, but is different from cup. Yeah. So here we have the same issue. The subject object is permanent, but is different from permanent. Yeah, that's the same issue, yeah. Like blue cup is a cup, but is still different from cup. Because it exists and it is not one with cup. Only cup is one with cup. Okay, good. Wow, fantastic.
Wait, but so I understand the cup, but then you go to permanent
Mm.
and I cannot understand it.
So the reasoning is exactly the same. It's just it's more abstract, yeah, to think about permanent and so on. Yeah, it's more abstract. Still, the reasoning is exactly the same. Yeah, only permanent in the multiverse of Doctor Strange is one with permanent. Yeah. Still, there are many phenomena which are permanent. Still, they are different from permanent because they exist and they are not one with permanent. Object of knowledge, existent, different, definition, definiendum, and so on and so on. Even the definition of permanent, yeah, a common base between phenomenon and non-momentary. That's the definition given by Onzin Polbuchok. A common base between phenomenon and non-momentary. That is the definition of permanent. So it is permanent, but it is not one with permanent because it is different from permanent. Yeah?
Okay.
Wow, fantastic. Wow. Arya Manjushri might be so delightful. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, it
Very
feels
good.
like this logic and the logic that is going in my mind is completely opposite, as if I know nothing at all. This is so cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so cool to see the nuances that our mind is able to discern, yeah, to ascertain, yeah. Wow, that's fantastic. Yeah. Very good. Okay. So the subject object is different from permanent. Yeah, it follows that the subject object is different from permanent. Okay, it is different from permanent because
Because it is not one with permanent.
so it follows that if it is not one with permanent, it's necessarily different from permanent.
Yes,
Okay, so the subject Honor the rabbit is different from permanent because it is not one with permanent.
one with permanent and existent.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, it follows that if it exists and it is not one with permanent, it has to be different from permanent. Yeah.
Yes.
Wow, very good. And the subject object is not a functioning thing. Is not a functioning thing because?
Because it is a permanent thing.
Yes, it is a permanent phenomenon. Yeah, it follows that if it is permanent, it's necessarily not a functioning thing.
Accept.
Wow, very good. Fantastic. Okay, and then, okay, what I had some trick as well for here. Okay, could we put the unicorn, but previously Zingrula gave the answer. You spoiled my one-man show. Why can we why the unicorn cannot be here? It follows that the blue unicorn is not different from permanent.
Except
Yeah. Yeah, the subject blue unicorn is not different from permanent because?
because it's not a phenomenon.
Yes, exactly. If it's not a phenomenon, it cannot be a phenomenon which is diverse from permanent. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Does it work for everyone? Yeah,
Yeah.
because one and different have to exist. Yeah, if it is one or different, because there are also main divisions of existence. So if it exists, it has to be one or different. Yeah. If it doesn't exist, it cannot be one or different. It's none of them. Yeah. Okay, so we cannot put the blue unicorn here, yeah? Just object or any permanent phenomenon, which is not permanent itself. Okay. Then could we posit, it follows that we can posit a functioning thing with it, which is not different from permanent. Not possible for Chaviji. No, Zigrula as well.
Mhm.
Oh, what about uncompounded space?
The subject and compounded space, it follows it is a functioning thing. Yeah, for the verb hashika, yeah? For the verb hashika, they would
Yes,
say, "Yobayena noboin bekya." If it exists, it has to be a functioning thing, yeah? But still, for the Sotrantika and up to the Madhyamaka, it's not possible to accept that uncompounded space is able to perform function, yeah? Yeah.
It
So
allows functions to happen, right? But you can't
mhm,
say, but their definition won't allow for that. So compounded space is also not a functioning thing?
exactly, yes.
I
Yeah,
see.
for the Sotrantika, Chittamatra, and Madhyamaka. But for the Vaibhashika, yeah, it's a functioning thing, which has no potency. Yeah, it's a nume jegu. Yeah, it's an active cause which has no potency. Yeah,
Hmm.
okay, very good. So uncompounded space, it follows that the subject uncompounded space is not a functioning thing.
Except
Is not a functioning thing because
because it does not perform a function according to Sautrafika.
exactly. According to Sotrantika, exactly. Okay, so it follows it's not possible to have a functioning thing which is not different from permanent. Yeah, because if it's a functioning thing, it follows that it exists. Yes. And if it exists and it's not different from permanent, it follows it is one with permanent. Ah. Yeah, so we cannot find a functioning thing which is one with permanent. Yeah, because only permanent is one with permanent, and permanent is not a functioning thing. Permanent is permanent.
Mhm.
Okay, so we have a red cross here. Nothing can be here. Yeah. Okay, so it follows that you can posit something which is none of them, which is not different from permanent and which is not a functioning thing.
The subject permanent.
Ah, it follows that the subject permanent, yes, is not different from permanent.
Except
The subject permanent is not different from permanent because?
because it's one with permanent.
Yeah, it follows that if it is one with permanent, it's necessarily not different from permanent.
Except.
Yes, and the subject permanent is not a functioning thing.
Except.
Is not a functioning thing because?
It's not able to perform a function.
Yes, it follows that if it is not able to perform a function according to the Suatrantika, it's necessarily not a functioning thing.
Except.
Yeah, so Zingruna is much more clever than me because I just put the unicorn, which is easier. Yeah, it doesn't exist, so it cannot be different. So it cannot be different from permanent, and it cannot be a functioning thing. But permanent is very good answer, very elegant. I would add it in the slides that I will share with you. Yeah, so 3P. Who said 3P before? Yeah, 3P.
Yes.
Yeah, we have something which is A and B, something which is A, not B, something which is none of them. Yeah, wonderful. Wow. But still, yeah, when we've been asked that question, yeah, intuitively we tend to say they are equivalent, but still, yeah, so the nuances are so beautiful, yeah. Okay, very good. Tea break, okay. Or coffee, maybe. 1 liter coffee.
So can I ask, you said object, and I don't know if there's a definition for object, but I would have thought anything, any object we see has a function. But you said no, object does not have a function. And Sigrunla said, okay, existent, right, as an example. And I can, is there a tangible, like a example of existent that is not, or give me an example of object that is not a functioning thing so I can put it in my head.
Yes, who has it? Object. Because what you said, Palavila, is right. Any object that we see is impermanent, yeah? Because every appearing object to direct perception has to be impermanent, yeah? So object itself is permanent, but if it is an object, it's not necessarily permanent, yeah? Yeah, cup is an object because the definition of object has been given by Apollinella, maybe previously, yeah? That which is suitable to be known by an awareness, yeah? Le Rikparjawa in Tibetan. That which is that which is known by an awareness, le Rikparjawa, that which is known by an awareness, yeah. Okay, so yeah, object is permanent because it's a general category which includes impermanent phenomena and permanent phenomena. Yeah, so the whole set object is permanent, is the appearing object to thought consciousness. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so is appearing object to thought phenomenon,
Thought consciousness. Yeah.
to thought consciousness is an object.
Yeah, is permanent, has to be permanent. Yeah. Yeah.
But how is it not a functioning thing?
Yeah, because for Acharya Dharmakirti, when he's debating with the Vaisheshikas and the Nyayikas, you know, the non-Buddhist schools, yeah, in the past in India, So for them, any phenomenon that we think about is a real phenomenon, yeah? So there is a multiplication of phenomena, yeah? And for Acharya Dharmakirti, his way to present the Buddhist ontology is much more parsimonious. Yeah, he would say that it's not because if we think that cup, that red cup which is nice, and so on, it doesn't mean that we have 3 cups. Yeah, otherwise nobody would be, looking for any cup. Yeah, you just think about cup, you just think about peace in the world, then you would have peace in the world. That would be beautiful. Yeah, but it's not the case. Yeah, Acharya Dharmakirti would say it's not because we think about something that the object that we think about has to be a real existing, really the existing phenomenon. Yeah? Yeah, so he says that if it is the appearing object to thought consciousness, yeah, it exists, but it is permanent. It's not a real existent. It's an under-existent.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, very good. And the appearing object to direct perception is necessarily impermanent. Yeah. Okay, very good. Fantastic. But I have some slides to recap those points, yeah, in the end of the slideshow. Okay, so now we have women debating. Wow, so smart, so smart. Yeah, okay. Well, I guess that you don't know the difference between the two, one and generality. Ooh. So what is the answer? Laughing out loud, of course. Yeah, of course I know the difference. Okay. The reason is not established. Yeah, it follows that you know the difference between the two. One and generality, of course. Accept. Posit. What would you say?
Mhm. No.
Yeah, so we are checking, could we find something which is A and B, and something which is A not B, something which is B not A, and something which is none of them.
I would say at least 3p, maybe 4. I'm not sure.
3.5 for the Yula.
I joined the 3.5 club.
So it makes 7 points. 7
7p, yeah.
possibility. Yeah, Pralavila, yeah. 4. Wow. You said 4, or you just raised your hand?
No, I said 4, but it's not because you said, wow, I don't know.
Like Venera Gendandil would say, don't trust my face. Yeah, sometimes the challenger, is trying to bluff a little bit, like poker face.
I feel like you'll be more likely 4 than 3, but yeah, also not sure.
Yeah, for Himula, 3 and 3/4. 3p, 3p and 3/4. Yeah, okay, so in all the answers, you have common base, yeah? So it follows that the subject, the two, one, and generality have a common base. Yes, what could it be?
Our cup.
Yes, for instance, cup or table, yeah? My imagination is so poor. Always table. Okay, cup. The subject cup, it follows it is one.
Except.
It follows that the subject cup is yeah, okay. The subject cup is one because
Because it is not diverse.
so if it is not diverse, it's necessarily one.
It exists and it is not diverse. It is necessarily one.
Otherwise, you can see from afar the horns of the rabbit and unicorns coming, yeah?
Yes.
Okay. So if it exists and it is okay, if it is a phenomenon which is not diverse, it's necessarily one.
Except.
Okay. And the subject cup is a generality.
Except.
It is a generality because
It is a phenomenon that encompasses its manifestations.
so it follows you can posit some manifestations of the generality table.
I'm sorry, I posit generality of all tables, small table, big
No,
table.
yeah, some illustrations, yeah, some instances, yeah, okay. Yeah, small table, big table, wooden table, exactly, yeah. Okay, very good. Fantastic. So the subject one and generality are not contradictory, yeah. We put aside one answer, yeah, because we found some common base, yeah. Okay, very good. So it follows, yeah. Please.
No, Sigrunla was leaving. I was like, no, don't leave. We need help.
Yeah. No, you try to figure out by yourself. Okay. So then you had, for some people who had 3P, it follows you can posit the perversion, yeah? If it is A, it's necessarily B, but if it's B, it's not necessarily A, or the way around as you wish. Yeah, if we have 3P, if we have 3P, it means that one is a bigger category than the other one, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
So if it's one, it's a generality, but if it's the generality is not necessarily one.
Okay. Everybody agrees with Daniela?
I'm not sure I even agree with myself, but
Okay. So it follows that if it is one, it's necessarily a generality. Okay. So it means that we have some illustrations of one. Yeah, something which is one and is a generality. What could it be? Oh, sorry, which is one but is not what did I say? Yeah, which is one and is a generative. We had the table, yeah. Okay. Now we are looking for, okay, does anyone find something which is one but not a generality? That would be the other perversion, yeah, as Daniel said, yeah. Yep, Halavila.
The instance of one cup.
Okay, the instance of one cup. So the illustration would be one cup or an instance of one cup, like a red cup.
I think it is an instance of one cup because it's not the category, but it is the example of one cup.
Okay, so instance of cup. That would
Instance
be that.
of cup.
Instance of cup. It follows that that instance of cup is not a generality.
Not a general, except.
Okay, so it follows that instance of cup doesn't have many illustrations, many instances.
One
Yes,
instance.
for example, your red cup.
Yes, the subject red cup, it follows it is an instance of cup.
No, Christophe's red cup is one instance, specific instance.
Okay. Okay. So Christophe's red cup, it follows, it doesn't have many instances. It's not a generality. Yeah. So Christophe's red cup of yesterday, Christophe's red cup which is dirty, Christophe's red cup which is clean, and so on. They are not instances of Christophe's red cup. Ah,
They're characteristics of that same cup.
okay. So it follows that the subject Christophe's red cup, which is in my hand, and the subject Christophe's red cup, which is on the table, are not different instances of Christophe's red cup.
I'm not sure, are they?
Yeah, because if you remember, yeah, to prove that a phenomenon is an instance of a generality, we have 3 requirements. Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, we can check them. Yeah, it follows that the subject, okay, the subject Christophe's red cup, which is in my hand, is an instance of Christophe's red cup because it is Christophe's red cup. It is related as the same essence with Christophe's red cup. And there are many other Christophe's red cups which are not in my hand, I hope. I hope that if it is Christophe's red cup, it's not necessarily in my hand. Otherwise, I should have it even when I'm sleeping or walking outside. I still have my cup in my hand. Maybe the phone would work, but the red cup, I'm not sure. Yeah, it follows that the subject Christophe's red cup, which is on the table, is Christophe's red cup as well. Yeah. Ah, so it is an instance of Christophe's red cup.
Mm.
So if
Yep.
if there are many instances of Christophe's red cup, it follows that Christophe's red cup is a generality.
Hmm.
Yeah, we could say Christophe's red cup of yesterday, Christophe's red cup of today, of tomorrow, and so on.
Okay.
Sounds
So,
correct.
so can we find, maybe there are no illustrations of something which is one, but not a generality. Yeah, this one is a bit tricky. You wanna? You were about to give an answer, no?
But then does that mean there are no instances at all? Because everything could have that particular thing of the past and the present and so forth.
Yeah, that's exactly the point. Yeah, Chavila. Yeah, that's exactly the point. Yeah. Can we have a phenomenon which is not a generality?
So, no, all phenomena have to be some generality because that's you're categorizing all phenomena as some generality, and you have all these different generalities. But the point is, I wrote this down and I'm wondering why it's not working right now, because we said instance and its generality is one entity, but generality and its instance is not necessarily one entity. So that's why I thought, well, if your cup, a red cup, or one instance of a cup is not a generality. No, you said not one entity, but it is still a generality.
Yes, an instance and its generality are necessarily one entity. Yeah, yeah, because because the generality cannot exist outside of its instances. Yeah, it's pervading its instances. Yeah, so
Yes.
if you have red cup, red cup and cup are necessarily one entity. Yeah, red cup and existent are one entity. Red cup and selflessness are one entity, and so on. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So you can't have an generality that is sitting separately from an instant. That instance has to be within the generality.
Yes, exactly.
Oh.
In the Buddhist point of view, yes. For the non-Buddhist schools, yeah, we could find like for the Nyayikas, they have 6 padarthas, they have 6 categories, yeah. they have generality, instance, and the generality and instance are different entities, but the generality is immanent in the instances, but could survive when the instances are not existing anymore. Yeah. So, but if for the Buddhist point of view, a generality is not something outside in the space. A generality has to pervade any of its instances. Yeah. Yeah. So just to, you remember when we saw previously, we had 4P between generality and instance. Yeah. Generality and instance. Yeah. 4P.
Yes.
Yeah. If it's an instance, it can be a generality. Yeah. Okay. But if it's an instance, it's not necessarily a generality. Yeah. We found, for instance, a collection generality like pot and pillar. Yeah. The whole set pot and pillar is an
Ah, it
instance.
was the set. I should have. That is the
Mm.
Yes, it could be that. But
cup and
here,
saucer. Cup and saucer. My
yes,
cup and saucer. Your cup and saucer. Okay.
exactly. Very good. Yeah, two contradictory phenomena. Yeah, you add them all together, so you have one instance, but it's not a generality. Yeah. Okay. And I put here one with cup. One with cup.
Mm.
It follows that the subject one with cup is one. Yes. It is one because
Mm. It's
Because they're
not
not diverse phenomena.
not diverse, but not different from, yeah.
yeah, because it's a phenomenon which is not diverse. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it exists, but it's not diverse. Yeah, very good. Okay. So it follows that if it is a phenomenon which is not diverse, it's necessarily one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the subject one with cup is one, but one with cup is not a generality. Is not a generality because it doesn't have many instances, because in the whole universe, what is the only thing which is one with cup?
Only cup.
Only cup, exactly. Cup is the only thing which is one with cup. So it follows that one with cup doesn't have many instances. It has only one. So if it's only one, it cannot be an instance. Yeah, it cannot be
What about like? But then now the problem is, I'll use your same argument. One with cup from yesterday, one with cup from today morning, one with cup from, tomorrow.
Mm,
Are these not instances of one with cup?
mm. Yeah, that's a good question. One with cup of yesterday, one with cup of today. Okay. Yeah. So it would follow that one with cup of yesterday is an instance of one with cup.
Yes, except
Ah. So in order to be an instance of one with cup, it has to be one with cup, yeah? Like, in order for the red cup, the red cup to be an instance of cup, it has to be a cup, yeah? So is one with cup of yesterday one with cup? Or different from cup?
it has to be one with cup is not different from cup.
So it follows that cup is not the only thing in the universe that is one with cup.
Why?
Because one with cup of yesterday is an instance of one with cup, so it has to be one with cup. So the subject one with cup of yesterday is one with cup. So it follows that cup is not one with cup, because one with cup of yesterday is one with cup. That we just agreed before that only cup is one with cup. Yeah, one with cup of yesterday is different from one with cup and is different from cup.
No, it cannot be.
Yeah.
No, one with cup from yesterday is not different from cup.
Ah, it's not different from cup. So it follows that for thought consciousness it's not different. Thought consciousness is not able to distinguish them.
No, this cup looks the same to me, whether it was yesterday in my mind or today in my mind, tomorrow I'm seeing the same cup again and again.
Yes, but when we think about the one with cup of yesterday and one with cup, our thought consciousness makes a distinction, yeah? Yeah?
I think you're trying to trick me.
No. Just to say that the subject one with cup of yesterday, if it is an instance of one with cup, it has to be one with cup. Like if we say the cup of yesterday, if the cup of yesterday is an instance of the cup, which is okay, it has to be a cup. Yeah, you agree with that? Yeah, that's the first
Yes, exactly.
requirement. Yeah, okay. So
Mhm.
if we say that the one with cup of yesterday is an instance of one with cup, it has to be one with cup. But one with cup of yesterday has one with cup of yesterday 5 words. Yeah, so it's necessarily different from one with cup, which has 3 words. Yeah, for thought consciousness, it's different.
Mhm.
So if it exists and for thought consciousness there is a distinction, so it's necessarily different. It's not one with cup, it's different from cup. And it's also different from one with cup. But it's okay, it's different from one with cup because in order to be an instance of a generality, it has to be different from that generality. Yeah, red cup is different from cup. Yeah, do you agree with that? Red cup is different from cup. Still, it is a cup. Yeah, but the subject one with cup of yesterday is different from one with cup. It's okay, but it's not one with cup because only cup is one with cup.
Mhm.
Yeah. Wow. We could even say the subject one with cup is not one with cup. The subject one with cup is different from cup. Yeah? Okay.
Mhm.
So one with cup in the whole universe has only one manifestation, yeah? Cup. Only cup is one with cup. Yeah? So that's why one with cup is not a generality, but it is one. Yeah, it is A, not B. Yeah.
Mhm.
Welcome to the headache club.
Sounds
Just
sounds
keep
great.
on blowing our minds, Christopher.
So sorry. Sorry. Sorry, Chavila, I didn't hear what you said.
You just keep on blowing our minds, Christopher.
Yeah, next time we will try to provide some painkillers. So one with cap is one, yeah, is a phenomenon which is not diverse. It's just one, and is not a generality because the only thing which is one with cap in the universe is just cap, yeah? So it doesn't have many manifestations, yeah, many instances, yeah. So if it doesn't have many instances, it's not a generality, yeah. Oh, fantastic. So, Daniel, I remember you said 3P, but the other way around, yeah, for the perversion, yeah. So you necessarily have a generality
Yeah.
which is not one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now I'm not sure. Now I wasn't sure with I wasn't convinced with myself to start with, so
Yes.
I think
Yes. Just
the
to give some clue, when we debate in Tibetan, we don't have the, the numbers, the particles, yeah? Like in French or English, we say a generality, yeah. But in Tibetan, we would just say generality. Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's just a clue to give you in order to figure out, yeah. It's not
Yeah.
necessarily one thing that we think about, yeah.
Yeah, it's larger. It's
Yes.
more vast concept. Yeah.
Mhm.
Mhm. Hmm.
All cups.
Sorry?
All cups would
All
be a
cups.
generality.
Ah, yes. Yes. Yes, we could say so. Yes, Malavila. Yeah, I put
All
what
the cups in the universe.
yeah, I put mango and cup. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not the whole set, yeah, because the whole set is not a generality. Yeah? It doesn't have any instance, yeah. But the subject, the two on one side, mango, then on the other side, cup, or red cup, blue cup, green cup, and so on. Yeah, they are generalities, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but they are not one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the subject mango and cup and so on, they are that which is characterized as being generality. Yeah, we could say so. Because in Tibetan, they
Not
would
one.
just say, yeah, chi imbekya. They would say it is generality. Yeah, they are generality. They don't say plural and so on. Yeah, yeah. So it's easier in Tibetan, but in English, yeah, it's we could make some mistake in the language. Yeah. Actually, we should say they are generalities. Yeah. So yeah. So it follows that the subject mango and cup are generalities. Yes,
Except
they are generalities because
they
They encompass their manifestations.
Yeah,
yes,
thing.
exactly. It follows that if
Manifestation.
yes, it follows that if the subject mango and the cup and all the cups of the universe are encompassing their manifestations, they are necessarily generalities. Yes, we could say because they have many instances. Yeah, it's another way to say it. Yeah. Yeah. If they have many instances, they are necessarily generalities. Okay. And it follows that they are not one.
Except
Yes, they are not one because.
because I'm not trying to posit it, but we just said they are many, so they can't be one at the same time.
Exactly. If there are many, they are necessarily not one.
Yeah.
Yes,
They're
because
not.
many in Tibetan Duma is
Mhm.
defined as more than one. Chigle mawa. Chigle mawa, yeah. So more than one, yeah. So that's why many and different are sometimes you can replace one by the other, yeah. Not in each and every case, but in many cases you can have different or many. That's same but different.
Okay.
Okay, so if there are many, they are necessarily not one.
Except
Very good. So it follows that you can posit something which is none, which is not one and not generality.
not one, not one or the other.
Selflessness.
It follows that the subject selflessness is not one.
Not one. Except
Mm. Is not one because?
because any object can be selfless.
Mm.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay. So, okay. So it follows that if many objects can be selfless or are necessarily selfless, we should say, yeah, yeah, for Buddhism, yeah, for the Sautrantika, if it exists, it has to be selfless, yeah. Okay, so it follows that because many phenomena are selfless, then selfless itself is not one.
Except
So it follows that we cannot have one generality because it has many instances.
aren't we talking about one? Aren't we debating one right now?
Yes, because here the selfless, the challenger is accepting that selfless itself is one, yeah, because it's compared with anything else. Yeah.
No, I'm
Yes.
saying neither one nor general.
Ah,
So I'm saying not one.
yeah.
Selflessness is not one
So,
because there are many selflessnesses.
okay. So yes, for the defender here, for Palavila, selfless is not one, yeah. Is not one because it has many instances.
Mm.
It is a diverse phenomena.
Yeah. So selfless itself, yeah, selfless.
Selflessness is diverse.
Yeah. It follows that the subject selfless is not one with selfless.
Selfless is not one with selfless. No pervasion.
Okay. I gave no reason, but it's okay. So it would be
Okay,
why.
I don't know. I don't know why.
Why?
Why? Like it
Okay.
doesn't.
Okay, so it follows that the subject selfless is one with selfless.
It follows that the subject selfless is one with selfless. So one with selfless. Yes, accept.
Okay, so it follows that if it is one with selfless, it's necessarily one.
Accept.
Okay.
No! Oh no.
So the subject selfless is one with selfless, but is different. Or we could say it follows that the subject selfless is one with selfless, but is not one.
Is one with selfless. It is one with selfless, but it's not one because there are many.
Mm. So it follows that the subject cup is not one because there are many cups.
It follows that the subject one
The subject cup, yeah, the subject cup is not one because there are many cups in the world.
Accept.
Oh, okay. Okay. So like previously, do you remember that we found a common base between one and generality? Yeah, what was it? It's just in the middle of the the slide.
People.
The subject table is one. Still, there are many tables in the world.
Yes.
Okay.
The small table, big table. Yeah. So we said, yeah, okay.
So I should be able to say, so according to you, the defender, it follows that the subject, we made a mistake before. It follows that the subject table is not one because there are many tables. No perversion. It's not because there are many tables in the world. That table itself is not one. It is one. Yeah.
Mhm.
The selfless, that's the same, no? Same reasoning, yeah. Selfless itself is compared with nothing at all, yeah. It's just selfless, yeah. We isolate conceptually selfless from anything else, so it is one, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Still, selfless has many instances, yeah. That's not a problem at all. But selfless itself is one, no?
Yes.
Mm.
Okay, is one because it's a phenomenon which is not diverse, yeah, for thought consciousness, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So it
Accept.
was that can you posit an illustration of something which is, yeah, could you posit something which is not one and not a generality? Except selfless.
Oh, I mean the unicorn.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Very
was going to
good.
go there.
Yeah, the unicorn. Fantastic. Yeah, the subject unicorn. It follows that it is not one. It is not one. Yeah.
Yeah, accept.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, it is not one because
It doesn't. It's not existent.
yes, if it doesn't exist, it cannot be one.
Mhm.
Yeah, even one unicorn is not one.
Accept.
Oh, one unicorn is not one. So it's two. Sorry, try to trick you. Okay.
Yeah.
Follows that the subject unicorn is not a generality.
Accept.
Is not a generality because
It's non-existent.
so it follows that the the subject blue unicorn, red unicorn, pink unicorn are not instances of unicorn.
Uh,
Except because they
yeah.
can't exist.
Yes, if they don't exist, they cannot be instances.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the definition of instance is a phenomenon. What was
Yeah.
it? A phenomenon having its category or its type, yeah. A phenomenon having its type which engages in it as a pervader, yeah? A phenomenon, yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
So
so it has to be existent, it has to be a phenomenon.
exactly, yeah. Instance and generality, they have to exist, yeah. So if it doesn't exist, cannot be a generality, cannot be one. Wow, fantastic. So how many points between one and generality?
Probably in the
Yeah, wow, beautiful. So just to recap some points about what we saw before, yeah, just a very short recap. Okay. Okay. Yeah, just a short recap with that small debate, very small. It follows that if it is a non-pot, it necessarily exists. Yeah, would you accept or why?
Yeah,
Why?
except
Why? And accept, yeah, we have two clubs.
no, I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
Ah, okay. So,
So yeah. I accept. Yeah, as I keep my.
yeah. So it follows that if it is a non-pot, it necessarily exists. So Chavila, you would have a counter illustration, yeah, if you say why, yeah. Yeah, counter consequence, yeah, to give to Daniel maybe. It follows, yeah.
If it is a non-part, it necessarily exists. It follows that. What would I say? It follows that a non-part is existent. I don't know what to say.
Yeah, so you could give some illustration, some counter example. Yeah, it follows that the subject blue unicorn exists
Oh yeah, okay.
because it's not a pot, it's a non-pot, yeah.
Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah, it follows that non-existent is necessarily exist.
Oh,
yeah.
why?
Why?
Why? Follows that a blue unicorn necessarily exists.
Yeah, because it's a non-pot and you accepted the
Yeah.
perversion, yeah. If it does,
Yeah,
if it's
yeah,
a pot, it necessarily exists.
So
Okay.
that wasn't right. Yeah.
So that's a way to start a debate as well, yeah. Okay, so why? Yeah, yeah, why? Okay, so it follows that if it is a non-pot, so here the challenger is trying to trick the defender, yeah. Okay, it follows that if it is a non-pot, it necessarily exists because non-pot exists. Oh, so the reason is established, yeah. The subject non-pot exists, but doesn't prove, yeah, and that if it is a non-pot, it has to exist, yeah. Yeah, that's the same more or less with existent, yeah. The subject existent is permanent, but if it is an existent, it's not necessarily permanent, yeah. That's the same process, yeah. Okay, so no perversion, yeah? No perversion. Yeah? It's not because non-pot exists that if it is a non-pot, it has to exist, yeah? So here we will just check that. So posit the perversion, yeah, okay. It's not because non-pot exists that if it is a non-pot, it necessarily exists. That's easy. Okay, the subject non-pot exists because that we will have to see that because it's a generality, yeah. The subject non-pot itself is a generality because there are many non-pots. Yeah, we are non-pots. Hopefully, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So non-pot is a generality because it encompasses many manifestations. Yeah, it has many instances, but it's not because it pervades something that the thing which is pervaded by that is an instance of that. We will see that maybe later. Okay, non-pot, you know, a table is a non-pot. Do you agree with that? Yes. Okay, a mango is a non-pot, an apple is a non-pot, and we have also permanent phenomena which are non-pot, like uncompounded space, yeah, is a non-pot, yeah. And we have also non-existent, which are non-pots, yeah. So the whole set non-pot exists because it includes existing phenomena, yeah? Phenomena, it has phenomena, yeah? Okay, so because it has phenomena, it includes phenomena, then the whole set itself is an existent, yeah, even if it includes as well non-existent. Yeah, yeah, okay, and not only that, because it includes permanent and impermanent phenomena, then the subject non-pot is permanent, yeah, is the appearing object to thought consciousness. Yeah. Okay. Just to recap that with very few slides, I don't want to take too much time from you. So if you remember, permanent is the appearing object to thought consciousness. Yeah. You need your thought consciousness in order to explicitly apprehend permanent. Yeah. And now, if you add impermanent, like you have the non-organic rice and the organic rice, same process. Okay, then you have the whole set existent, which is permanent, yeah, because it's still the appearing object to thought consciousness, yeah. But it doesn't mean that if it exists, it has to be permanent, yeah. We just say existent itself as a set, as a category, is permanent, yeah. But it doesn't mean that all the instances of that category necessarily are permanent. It's not the case, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, okay. So that's the same process with permanent non-pots. Yeah, we have many permanent non-pots. Yeah, like uncompounded space, selfless, existent, and so on. Yeah, they are permanent non-pots. And you have all the impermanent non-pots, table, person, time, and so on. Okay, then you add them all together, then non-pot is necessarily permanent. Yeah, not only it exists, but furthermore, it is permanent. Yeah, but it doesn't mean that if it is a non-pot, it has to be permanent or even existing. Yeah. So here you have all the existing non-pots. Yeah, table, person, time, and so on. And the non-existing non-pots, you add them all together, then the subject non-pot has to exist. But it's not because non-pot exists that if it is a non-pot, it has to exist. Yeah, a unicorn is not is a non-pot, but it's not existing. Yeah, yeah. Do you agree? So it gives some clarification. Like if you study the Chittamatra, for instance, you have the three natures. Yeah, you have imputed natures and dependent nature, or other powered natures and perfectly established natures. Yeah, the first one, imputed natures, it includes non-existent and permanent phenomena. So the whole set imputed nature exists and is permanent. But if it is an imputed nature, it doesn't necessarily exist. It can be a non-existent, yeah? That's the same process, yeah? Wow, fantastic! You're so brave to have kept on up to now. Thank you so much, really. It was so rejoicing for me to have those debates with you. And I hope we continue next time. Yeah. Thank you so much. It was a great pleasure. Yeah, take care, and you can do your dedications as usually. Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, Chavila.
Thank you so much.
As well.
So, thank
Thank
you,
you,
everybody.
everybody. Thank you, Christopher, Chavila.
See
Bye-bye,
you
everybody.
next time. Thank you. Bye bye.